Okay, so very good evening, friends. This is Rahul Magan here as a Group Chief Executive Officer, Treasury Consulting, and also a venture capitalist. Now, today, Facebook Live on 9th January 2021. As we understand that, the markets are really on the edge, like Scotland already announces the lockdown, London already announces the lockdown. In fact, today we got a news that the London as a global financial center is losing. So there was some data that came in public domain regarding, you know, the status of London as a global financial center in March 2020 versus September 2020. And unfortunately, compared to March 2020, London lost a lot. And considering the Brexit and I would say the coronavirus impact and the London lockdown, I will see that there would be big mess that is on the cards for London. That is really sure. I will not be surprised probably by end of 2022, London might be losing as a status of global financial center, and while New York, Luxembourg, and Frankfurt would continue to be. Singapore is still acting as an Asian global financial center, but Singapore needs time to be a global financial center, to be very honest. Some information is floating that Norway is restricting all the travel. Some information is also floating that Amsterdam is now asking people not to use the public cafes. And unfortunately, two different news came in public domain about the side effect of coronavirus vaccine. One came from India and one came from United States. As we speak, United States is really recording a huge amounts of deaths every day. And as I speak, the total coronavirus cases across the globe is around 86.7 million, which is by the time we cross January 21, I presume that the total coronavirus cases would be over 100 million mark. Gold has also fallen yesterday because now the political uncertainty in US is over now, and Georgia is more or less taken up by the Democrats, not the Republicans. In that regards, I think that the uncertainty in the gold for a moment is not there, but it would definitely come back because of the virus issues. We will definitely do research on virus issues again in the night. We will collate all information. But having said that, markets are really fragile and market are really either a breakout, except Indian market, because Indian market, you know how it exactly operates. Like, no comments, but today I was doing research on two stocks, and fundamentally speaking, both the stocks should be down, like Mahindra and Mahindra. Ford is exited Mahindra and Mahindra. Ford exited Mahindra and Mahindra as a joint venture, but unfortunately, and you know that what had happened to the Korean entity of Mahindra and Mahindra. But if I look at Mahindra and Mahindra as a stock, then I really don't think that the stock capturing either of the news. It is only going up and up and up and up. There are various other stocks we have standing today who fundamentally disregarding all the news. They are just going up and up. And I'm sure that, to be honest, many retail investors are definitely buying these stocks. And since retail investors are buying these stocks, they will one day realize. And apart from Mahindra and Mahindra, there are so many stocks in the big category and so on and so forth, which are, away from fundamentals. Only the time will tell. This is what my outlook about the market. To summarize, I strongly feel that markets would continue to be volatile, markets would continue to be fragile, and I strongly feel that markets continue to be, I would say on the edge, and sooner or later we will see the impact of that. And there is another virus we have now, which is known as virus X. Although there is limited information about virus X on in the public domain, but whatever information we have on the Google, you should read that information, because virus X is really, I guess that it is more threatening that than what we have COVID-19. I have 5 to 10 minutes. You can ask any questions. About snowman logistics, I think that there is ample of information which is flowing in the public domain that different aviation companies in India are tying up with the vaccine makers about the transportation of the vaccine. I clearly understand that they might be in touch with I would say the vaccine makers, but having said that, transportation is not easy, because transportation of the vaccine from the place where it is actually under I would say under preparation to the place where a patient need a vaccine is really a big job. I understand that there are few stocks that are hyped, and one of them is definitely Snowman. But I'm very clear on one side, which is, if any stock, until and otherwise any stock is profitable in nature, you should not buy that stock. You should only buy that stock provided it is profitable in nature. As simple as that. If the stock is profitable in nature, you should buy. If the stock is not profitable in nature, you should not buy. As simple as that. The profitability of the stock is most important concern. And secondly, the intrinsic value. We also need to see the intrinsic value. Unfortunately, most of the time people do not see the intrinsic value. People just go with the hype. And this is the reason why that. I don't know why people do not have any understanding about the Indian rupee. Indian rupee is 24/7. Even today on Saturday when we speak, Indian rupee is traded in non-deliverable forward market. And I'm very sorry to say that, if you don't mind, that when we talk about Indian rupee, people only see the onshore markets, which is Indian markets. People don't see the offshore markets. And 99.99% of the people do not have any understanding of the onshore offshore spread, which plays a very important role in all 24 non-deliverable currencies of the globe, and one of them is definitely the Indian rupee. So before commenting that Indian rupee is appreciated or depreciated by 40 pips, we need to understand that how the non-deliverable market is working. By the way, Indian rupee is at 73.40. And if there is a crash in the market in another 1 month, then there is a high probability that Indian rupee will go to 74 and may breach. Because now Reliance Industries Limited is not getting flows what they used to get when they sold their different stakes in the Jio. What had stopped Indian rupee from 74, 75 is the huge flow Reliance got in the market. And now Reliance is not getting the flows at that consistent pace versus they used to get. Keeping that in mind, if the market crash, there is a big probability that Indian rupee will go to 75, maybe more than that. So before commenting on Indian rupee, you need to understand the whole dynamics, which is onshore, offshore spread, non-deliverable, and many important things. See, I don't know how you people tracking gold, silver, copper and all, but one thing which is sure, one thing which is really sure is that we need to track LME metal index, which is known as London Metal Index. London Metal Index is the most powerful base metal index we have in the globe. Having said that, all indexes are having their permutations and combinations, and we need to understand that. If we know how to track London Metal Exchange, then I think we would be able to track most of the things, whether and almost all kind of base metals. And secondly, base metals crash nothing to do with gold and silver. Base metal crash is everything to do with the economic expansion or economic contraction. If there is a boom in the economy, the base metals go up. If there is a recession in the economy, the base metal come down. I don't think that. And most importantly, when it comes to commodities, people do not even compute the elasticity between gold, silver and base metal. But if you compute the elasticity between gold, silver, and base metals, then you will get to know what I'm saying. So please track London Metal Exchange, and if it's possible, make an Excel file, try and compute the elasticity. See, about Fortis Healthcare, there are many pharmaceutical stocks we have in India. And today I was doing my research on few pharmaceutical stocks, and I don't know how should I say, but I got some information which I never expected. To be honest, I think that there is a something or other is coming up in the Indian pharmaceutical sector very soon. Fortis Healthcare is a part of Fortis Hospitals, and I think as we speak, Fortis Hospital is doing pretty well. And having said that, Fortis Healthcare is not away from the intrinsic value, but it's a question of patience. If a person would be able to hold Fortis Healthcare, then may be able to get good benefits. But having said that, if the market crash, the probability is very high of the market crash, then I'm sure that at least one time it will bring all pharmaceutical stocks down, whatever. And there is a huge probability of market crash because of all negative news which is coming in the public domain, which can easily be verifiable, to be honest. What do you mean by just view only one line about the strike of Kisan? What is strike of Kisan? Sorry, sir, I not understood. What Kisan you are asking? Please let me know. I will definitely expect you. Shopper shops, we are doing our research on the fashion stocks, and I think that e-commerce war is shaping up at a faster pace. Udan, which is a business-to-business e-commerce platform, got around $280 million of funding. Reliance and Reliance Jio is also very aggressive, while DMart is also getting very aggressive in e-commerce. I think that since e-commerce war is really shaping up, I see that there are many fashion stocks that might be on the radar of merger and acquisitions very soon. And since many stocks of many fashion stocks would be on the radar, I think a potential buyout target. That buyout might be hostile buyout. That buyout might not be hostile buyout, to be honest. That's it. Sir, we are here for economic discussions. We are not here for the agitation between the farmers and the government. It is between both the parties who need to take up the call. As simple as that. And I am warning you, please do not disrupt the environment, else we will remove you. I'm here for economic discussions. I'm here for economic issues. I'm not here for that. And kindly do not politicalize this discussion. If you do not understand in economics, you are most willing to leave that discussion right away. But I will not let this politicalized. I am getting a lot of sense that people are trying very hard that why Rahul Magan is not talking about politics. And I will not speak about politics. That's a way. I think Bajaj Care is a good stock, but little bit away from intrinsic value. And I am very clear that until and otherwise the stock is closer to intrinsic value, I'm not going to be buying this, to be honest. And apart from intrinsic value, there are many other factors that we have described in our courses to be considered before buying a stock. I have already told many a times to the people that do not buy a stock only because you feel that this stock will go here. No, that is not the right way of buying. The right way of buying a stock is to consider the intrinsic value, is to see whether the stock is, whether the stock is, basically having any potential future or not. There are so many factors to consider. I think, to be honest, the hype by the operator is not the only thing. I have only 5 more minutes. If you have any questions, please ask, and then we need to wind up the show. Well, that is also surprising for me about the Bajaj Finance from 1700 to 5200, and we know that how exactly Indian market works, to be honest. Indian market is having their own way of working. I was reviewing one of the stock which is not much dissimilar than Bajaj Finance today. And while reviewing this stock and got some financial information, I was very confused that uh, how both of the stocks, how this stock is growing up. I'm a very strong believer of the fact that markets always correct to fundamentals. It may sometime, it may take, 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, or it may take sometimes 1 month, 2 month. But to be honest, that markets always corrects to fundamentals. And that is the most important thing which we need to understand, to be very honest. There is no public data for offshore Indian rupee prices. You can only get it from Reuters. On our USD, on our news desk, we generally share the offshore prices, but unfortunately, in Indian context, it is hard to find the offshore prices in the public domain, so as a non-deliverable spread. So you need to really get this data either from Reuters or Bloomberg. But I'm sorry, this is not available in public domain. I think there is a big action which is happening in the power sector, and Adani Power and Tata Power both are one to one. But to me, Tata Power fairly performed fairly well compared to Adani Power. I was reviewing the balance sheet of Adani Power of the last 5 years, and somehow not very happy the way the balance sheet was looking. But having said that, Adani Power and Tata Power both are having big futuristic plans. And I always appreciate the futuristic plan, but having said that, the futuristic plan should be based on the current realistic things as well. But definitely, considering both, whether this is Adani Power or this is Tata Power, I don't think it is the right time to buy both. To be honest, both are away from their intrinsic value. And unfortunately, power sector in India is not as conducive as we think as we see in the newspapers. To be honest, let it be very honest. In newspapers, we see a very conducive power sector, but reality it is not as conducive as we think. So I don't think it is a buy right now, but that is definitely, rest all is your call. If you wish to buy, you are most welcome. No one can stop you. This is the second last question I'm taking, which is about the G Entertainment. I think that Z Entertainment is not the, I'm not saying it's the right stock, but I think that there is a big action which is set for OTT platforms. Example, I don't know how many of you are using Amazon, but if you are using Amazon Prime as a membership, you would be able to see that Airtel Extreme is now on the Amazon Fire Stick. And since Airtel Extreme is on the Amazon Fire Stick, so like I'm using Amazon, so for me, if I need to have Airtel Extreme, which includes, if I'm not incorrect, then it includes the news, the movies, and all these things. There's no need to have a separate subscription of the Airtel. On my Amazon stick, I can use that. I just need to pay, if I'm not wrong, 500 rupees per year for that, which is okay, not a big price. I think there is a lot of membership, lot of M&A or joint ventures or collaborations or partnership or handshakings on the cards in the Indian media and entertainment sector. And I see that even in the movie production business, there are many movie production companies that are listed in India. And I see that there is a big potential partnerships or arrangements we can see in the movie production business in the upcoming time, because the reality is that OTT platforms are getting much bigger. Now they are covering the TV shows, the original content, the news, the Hollywood movies, Bollywood movies, and now they're entering into sports also, which is live sports. Recently, we saw that the Indian Premier League happened in Dubai and everything was live on Disney Hotstar, which was really a good experience. So I see a lot of partnerships very soon, to be honest. And considering that, Z Entertainment is definitely a great stock. But having said that, it is really, really, really away from intrinsic value. And but yes, it is a good stock, but away from intrinsic value, and which is the most important criteria for me. This is the last about India Bulls Housing Finance. I'm sorry, I'm not against any stock, but to be honest, we are not doing any research on housing finance because we feel that there is a big mess in the housing finance sector, considering the non-performing asset and so much things, whether it is LIC Housing Finance, India Bulls Housing Finance, or any other housing finance. And more importantly, to be very honest, I see that these housing finance companies after COVID-19 would be facing a huge non-performing asset, and I don't know the quantum, but that would really be huge, to be honest. At least I will not take any call on the housing finance because fundamentally speaking, the stocks are under huge, stocks would be in huge pressure, but I know that our media is giving too much hype to the housing finance stocks, and retail investor would definitely buy that, to be very honest. But I don't think it's the right time to buy the housing finance stock. We need to wait and watch. And by the way, as markets are going only in the one way, they are not contracting, correcting, and no retracement and no mess on the no mess. Practically speaking, we know what is happening across the globe, so we need to be very, very careful. I really don't think this is the right time to buy any stock now. I really don't think so. I think we really need to wait and watch until otherwise the stock is available at intrinsic value. It is okay. If it is not available at intrinsic value, we seriously need to ignore that. That's how I work. That's how I love to work. Okay, thank you very much. And this is Rahul Magan here. If you wanted to join our news desk, our FNO Learnings Academy, we already launched our course on FNO Learnings Basic Series video course, Penny Stock. We also launched our Penny Stock Basic Series course. You can have this course also. If you wish to know about any other course, you are welcome to WhatsApp at +91 9818485155. 9818485155. But markets are on edge, very, very fragile markets. Anytime, any news can possible. World Health Organization, according to me, did a fabulous job. They keep warning people. They are doing their commitment, but unfortunately, people are not listening to their warnings, and the world is paying a hefty price for that. God knows what bad news is on the card, but as we speak, more than 5 big economies of the globe already declared the lockdown, which includes London, Scotland, Australia, Japan, and I think it's Norway as well. More or less, they banned the travel. I will not be surprised, probably 1 month from now or maybe 15-20 days from now, many other economies of the globe would have another set of lockdown, which will hit the markets, and US is really on the edge because, guys, before we conclude, today is 9th January 2021, exact 10 days from now, which is 19th, the new president is on the way, which is Joe Biden. And I have no offense against him, but I really don't think that he would be able to handle the geopolitical issue well compared to the other president like Donald Trump. And I think 2021 would really be remembered as one of the year for the geopolitical issues. And we know that geopolitical issues are competent enough to swing the market in either direction. But majority of the investors across the globe do not understand the geopolitical issues. Thank you. This is Rahul Magan here from Treasury Consulting. Have a great time ahead. Any questions or anything, you can WhatsApp 9818485155. Have a great time ahead. Thank you, sir.